Anybody out there?
Hey Jean, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Just Michelle?
Yes, it is.
I can hear you too, Gene. Joe Mel.
Hey, Joe, how are you tonight?
Having fun.
Always nice to have you on board. Michelle, keep an eye on him.
She does.
Thanks.
I didn't realize I was early.
And you're in video.
Yeah, I just finally decided to take the time to set it up, which isn't much, I guess, as I found at all. You guys aren't on there.
The meeting hasn't started yet. My video's blank.
Okay.
Same with Michelle.
Yeah, I'm multitasking right now.
Who else is on there? We got one more.
Erica Pratt.
Hi, Erica.
She just muted herself. Once it starts, I'm going to mute.
Tony,
Hello.
look at you, you handsome double.
You too. Usually you're on the call. What'd you get, a haircut?
Yeah. Get them all cut. Thanks for sending that along,
Yep.
the packet. Hey, how many, is the Tides open? I never even bothered.
Yeah. I mean, they're very limited.
It's just going through Governor Baker's regulations. Are we on TV?
Working that out right now.
I'm not seeing anything on Xfinity yet.
Hey, Tony.
Hi.
So I see in the opening comments, it says the turkey shoot this Saturday. Is that still on?
Canceled.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Another victim to this pandemic.
Really fun.
You're on TV, guys.
Hey, all right.
You are?
All
Yeah.
three at the same time.
All
Is
four.
it- Is it
Live
one of
TV,
us
so-
at a time? Joe, is it one of us at a time or is it, can you
It's a
see
group
them
of
all?
four. Tony, it's a group of four to the right.
How's that?
And the audio is, no, the other way. There's a delay factor here, guys. We got about a 10-second delay or so between TV and computer.
Is it delay?
Yeah.
Is that so they can beep us out?
Yeah, in case you get inappropriate.
The mark's up now on the computer. It's up on the TV. Well, I'm up too. I just realized it. You got a block of 6 up there.
Okay.
I'm going mute.
We got a couple of minutes, so before we get started.
I didn't mute, but you said.
Okay, it's 6:30. Welcome everybody to November 19th joint meeting, Board of Selectmen and Board of Health. It's Thursday, November 19th, 6:30. In attendance is Gene Canty, Josh Antrim, Mark Cullinan, and Administrator Antonio Barletta. So let's get started. The first thing we have on our agenda is an update from Deb Murphy and John Coolin on our COVID-19 status. I know there's been a lot going on over the past week, a couple weeks since we last met, and interested in hearing what Deb and John and Tony have to say and some of the steps we made in town to get people tested and whatever, and some issues that we've had at town meetings. So, Tony, I'll turn it over to you, and you can turn it over to Deb and John.
Sure. So I'll let Deb get through the stats and categories that the town's been labeled as by the state based on how many cases we had. But we are happy to announce that Swampscott testing free, no appointment testing is now 6 days a week. And we also have testing available. Here, let me read the days. Swampscott's open at the First Congressional Church Monday through Friday from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then we've expanded that to Nahant as well, the St. Thomas Aquinas Church parking lot. Next week, because of the holiday, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, 11 to 1. But after that will be Wednesdays and Fridays, 11 to 1. And then as far as with the town hall, we're back open. We're still going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday to the public. As we published earlier this week, we feel that as far as transmission within the building itself, we feel we got a good control of that, the protections in place that we have. Do a good job of preventing that sort of thing. And we had 2 positive cases of staff in the building. They weren't related to each other. We believe that it was transmitted outside of the building. And then, of course, close contacts of those people are required to quarantine as well. So, one thing that we're definitely getting a better handle on here is when someone tests positive, the quarantine requirements for the close contact. So even if, based on the state regs, and I'll let Deb get further into it, but, based on the state regs, even if you have a mask on, if you are within a certain amount of feet of a contact for a certain amount of time, you're considered close contact, you're required to quarantine. And even if you get a negative test, you're still required to quarantine for a certain amount of time until you get a second negative. So I'll let Deb get into those details, but, I think that, for us, obviously, if a certain department, if one person in a certain department that shares an office with another tests positive, and the close contact is the other person in that department, and they have to shut down for 10 days or 14 days, it cripples, our progress, our efficiency in the town hall. So we're taking a closer look at, separation of space in the building for our staff, overlapping schedules, trying to figure out how can we, best avoid a potential, individual department shutdown for extended periods of time, while also still being able to, get things done, and that there is access to those departments for the public too. So we're looking into that. We also, we already looked into today, some newer, updated plexiglass and protocols within the building for staff. So, I think until you go through it in your professional setting, or in a school setting, or in a family, until you really go through it and experience it, it's hard to kind of predict how it will impact the town hall. So now that we've gone through it and everyone's feeling well and doing well, obviously that's our number one concern, is the employees' health, safety, and then of course the residents as well coming into the building. So, but we're back. We were back today. Some of us, most of us, and if anybody needs, if anybody's having trouble getting in touch with with folks in the town hall, just call the main number. The Board of Selectmen's office is up and running, and we all can work remotely too. So email is great.
Hey, Tony, just
yes.
a big thanks for pulling the testing together. That's going to be a big benefit for everybody in town. I know it requires some shucking and jiving, but that was great.
I think all testing facilities have seen a major uptick in the past couple of weeks, with numbers on the rise and with the holiday around the corner, which I think is great. Especially if folks, even if you're staying home with your own household, or you're staying under the 10-person limit, getting a test this weekend so you get results before the holiday is a great idea. And so, hopefully, I know on my way home, I drove by the Swampscott site, and the line of cars was down the road. So it's definitely picking up.
Thank you.
Deb?
Okay, so I just want to start by saying that we're getting into a grave situation here in town. When I printed the numbers out for tonight's meeting, I just printed the numbers from November 1st to November 9th until tonight, and we've had 19 new cases. When I look at the numbers, on October 14th, we only had 49 cases. And now on November 19th, we have 87 cases. Our average this week for percent positivity that just came out tonight puts us at 3.88% when the state's average is 3.22%. So we have flipped from the green to the yellow. We've had many people, 464 people tested in the last 2 weeks. And this data that was collected from 11/1 to 11/14 shows that we had 18 positive cases. So when you have 18 positive cases, then you have all the contacts of those people. Some people have 6, 8 close contacts. People, people go to a lot of different places. And when you do the contact tracing, and a lot of those places are out of town. A couple of these recent ones were out of state. So that means I have to contact these other local communities, the other states, speak with the state a lot, our DPH, create clusters for the town, which I've created a couple. So it's getting, our numbers, as everybody knows, are rising. There's hardly a day now that I log on that I don't have a new case. Sometimes, more than one cases. The good news out of all of this, if there's any good news to be taken, is the school is doing great. And I would just like to dispel any of those rumors that were circulating that the kids were transmitting the virus in the school. That did not and is not happening. The kids in school that tested positive, the couple that we had, they were exposed to an adult. They were not exposed to anybody in school. And so I think, my main goal is, of course, like Tony said, to keep the town safe, but to keep our school open too. I think that's really so important for everybody. Going forward, I think our problem areas right now are inside. We knew that was going to happen because it got cold out, and there's less and less happening outside. Inside, I think people don't tend to wear their masks as much, and I don't think they pay attention a lot to the number of people gathering. Those two scenarios together makes it a bad situation. And I've seen, and we've all seen, how fast this virus can spread from one person to another in that situation. So we'll just continue to, to monitor the numbers. I'm happy that we're having the testing 2 days a week. I see the Swampscott lines every day. I know people tell me they've waited 2 hours in those lines. We only have a 2-hour window in Nahant, and I would expect that those lines on both of those days we have next week, I would expect a full capacity. The good thing about this group that's doing our testing, which is the same people that are doing it in Swampscott, they have a very quick turnaround time. The important thing to remember, and I heard this today too on one of my DPH meetings, the test is great. The test, you get tested today and it says you are negative today. If you get the test and then tomorrow go to a party or a gathering in someone's house, that you could negate your negative test. So if you are testing before Thanksgiving, you should, get the test, get your results, and then you should plan on really quarantining until Thanksgiving, meaning, don't go to the grocery store, don't go here or there. That is really difficult, I think, for people. But the test will give you, right now I'm negative, that type of and you should try to stay negative after you get your test.
Hey, Deb, I sat in that line in Swampscott for just over an hour, and I wound up going past the cutoff time. But they kept taking people as long as they were in line, and then they put a block down at the far end.
Right.
Will we allow people that are in line at the right time, but if in fact we get a big line of testing, will we be able to keep them all coming in?
I think, and Tony, you probably know this, but I think they're gonna be doing Nahant 11 to 1, but then they're gonna have to be ready in Swampscott for 2:30, right? Because that's. the-
Right.
Oh, okay.
So they'll have to,
Right.
they'll do as much as they can with, you know, but they have to give themselves enough time to wrap up and get over to Swampscott and open up.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not sure at what point they have to, drop off the specimens too, that they've collected from the Nahant people. I don't know if they have a courier. I'm not sure what that, how they do that, but. So,
We will aim to put some type of traffic plan description on the website and on Facebook before Tuesday. But I know, our preliminary conversations with Chief Dwyer and Chief Palumbo were to have folks lined up on the Nahant Road on the same side as the church, pull in to the parking lot like you typically do and exit like you typically do.
And, Deb, is this a self-swab type thing?
I don't think so, no.
When you go to the site, do they give you a swab to swab yourself?
No.
Or they swab you?
They swab you.
You stay in the car.
You
Right.
stay in the car, you have to fill out, your informational sheet so they can contact you with your results. They will either text you or email you. Of course, I get all the positives, and from this site, I usually get the negatives. So that,
And for those folks that are listening, that might be a fear to this testing. There's two types of testing I've been through. One is where they take that swab and put it almost through the back of your head. And then there's one where they just twirl it around in your nostril, and that's the one that we're doing in the Nahant and Swampscott. You never even feel it.
Just as an alternative, my second time I signed on to the Pekin Commonwealth, and I've gone to the Revere site by the Stop and Shop there. Thing is, you do have to go online, you have to sign up.
Right.
I went on Monday. They scheduled me for Wednesday at 9:30. I got there at 9:20, a little early, and I was out of there by 9:25. Very efficient. So it's another alternative that people should look into.
and I think Tony sent out the website last week too. You can put in your zip code. It's the testing website, and it will show you all the sites, in a 10-mile radius that are doing the testing. And it also, Mark, will tell you if you do need to register first or if you can just drive in. Yeah.
Right. Again, thank you so much, Deb. I know that I can't imagine, you deserve a huge vacation after all of this. I mean,
I don't know if I can wait that long.
I know. Well, the vaccine's around the corner, hopefully, and
Not fast enough.
not fast enough. But the town is in such debt to you. I mean, thank you so much for all you've done. You've been tremendous.
Yeah, like ditto. For what Deb was saying there, she's making 30 to 50 calls a day, nonstop.
Yeah.
Wellness checks and
Those are just the outgoing calls.
just the outgoing calls, right? And then, I know from talking to Deb, she'll get incoming calls from people who are, close contact of a close contact of a close contact. And I know it's a scary situation, but, as far as the contact tracing goes, it sticks to the close contact of the positive test, not the next close contact. So, if you had to go to that next branch, Deb, you need a staff of 12.
Okay.
Deb, before jumping over to John, could you talk a little bit too, just about, the symptoms and not any specifics, because I know, we're dealing with protected HIPAA laws here, and you can't get into personal medical records of individuals, but overall, like, you know, how long people are experiencing symptoms and has that changed over time and that sort of thing.
So, you know, a lot of people will say, how do I know if it's a cold or a COVID? Because so many of the symptoms overlap. COVID has a couple of symptoms that are specific to COVID. One of them is the loss of taste and smell. That symptom pretty much, I'd say 85% of the people will get that. What I've been seeing over the last 2 weeks, though, is an increase in people who think they have sinus infections, nasal congestion, severe headaches. That has been, I think, the #1 symptom for the last couple of weeks. Everybody will say, you know, the fever will abate, but the headache will seems to linger. I do have, I still have a couple of people on caseload from October that are going into their 4th week now with this, that just can't, they just can't shake it. They can't go back to work. They can't, you know, it's tough. Most people, you know, the minimum for isolation for a positive case is 10 days. Most people probably can hit that number of days. You have to have 24 hours with no symptoms on your 10th day, by your 10th day, in order to be released, so to speak. Some people have had to stay on for the full 2 weeks just to shake those lingering symptoms. And then the other part of it that we don't hear too much about is after people have recovered, some people turn into what they term long haulers, and they have symptoms. You know, they'll recover, they'll be okay for a couple of weeks, but then they have symptoms that will come back. And the study on these type of people is that some people now, because this virus hasn't really been around even a year yet, they don't know how many people are going to have this term long haulers. And they're not, and you know, the age group that we're seeing right now, it's not the old people, you know, it's not the 70 and 80-year-olds like when we had the nursing home, you know, problems. It's mostly people in their 30s and 40s.
Oh,
And the average age for the state right now is 38. So I think that's interesting that we're kind of following.
Oh, Deb, in the case of, so the 10 day is the minimum quarantine period,
That's for isolation.
isolation. So in the case of people that still have symptoms after 4 weeks, or are they still contagious or?
So if they still have a cough, you know, the cough, the respiratory symptoms are the ones that are the most troublesome. So what I have tomorrow, I have a couple of people that are going to be retested now after this long period. The problem with retesting is you can test positive for 3 to 4 months after without really being contagious. It's just that you're still shedding the virus, so that that would really be a false positive. So anybody that I have that I've released, that some people want to retest, you know, just to see, but they all come back positive because it's too close to the period of the active infection. So so yes, I would say the people with, you know, with the cough and the symptoms, the respiratory symptoms, I wouldn't want to put them out near, and you know, near going. We obviously can't go back to work or go back to school, you know, if they're working in a school environment. So I mean, that's not a lot of people, but I think it's interesting that it's been a few people.
Yeah, but I also understand that some other symptoms may include gastrointestinal type of issues without any respiratory. Yeah.
Sometimes, but most people that will admit to having any GI symptoms will usually have another symptom to go with it, whether it's the fever, the loss of taste or smell, you know, the dry cough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Deb, again. John?
Sure. I've been conducting annual fall inspections at our food establishments, as well as the fire captain and building inspector. And this has turned into an opportunity for discussion about COVID-19 matters, updates on mandates and protocols. And in some circumstances, we are looking beyond distancing and barriers, and we're looking at the efficiency of air handling systems, particularly in situations where it may be suspect and especially might need to be operating very efficiently and cleanly. So I like it that in some circumstances with these kinds of opportunities, we are achieving improvements and not just holding our own. People are responding, I think, very well, and we will just continue on. People do ask questions about our infection rate, and I refer them to Deb. And otherwise, I'm glad that we were able to reopen Town Hall. Certainly, as Tony mentioned earlier, it's taken for granted that Town Hall is always there, and Town Hall employees will serve the town, etc. And this served to bring home how much we at Town Hall are at the mercy of this virus as much as any other business. Any questions?
Yeah, just John, just one question. At the outlets or the institutions that you're visiting and inspecting, do they have any kind of a guideline posted as you enter?
Not necessarily as you enter. Depends on the type of establishment it might be. Is it a straight function facility? If so, how do they have their website set up and their menus and that kind of a thing? Is it a restaurant? Well, is there sufficient signage? If not, we look to make sure that we have that.
Right.
Okay, so it's going to depend on what type of place it is. We have, I think it's 17 permits in town, and everyone is the same and everyone is different. You know, it's that kind of thing.
I'll add into that, you know, when this pandemic first started, we quickly realized that we don't have a chamber of commerce in Nahant, but we do have a number of businesses that are open to the public. And so we, kind of created a group email and regularly scheduled meetings. And I'll say that, we've restarted those as the numbers have started to climb again. And I'll just say that, the local business owners in town are on top of it. They usually, John and I will go on for a few minutes about the new reg that just came out, and then they're kind of coming back with, hey, this is how we're doing it. We talk to other towns, other restaurants or bars or function halls in other communities. This is how they're doing it. This is something we could do. A number of stores have actually, when the limit was 5, they were making it 10 as far as how many people could be in the store. So, I will say that, our business owners and managers are fully aware of this. They care about the residents' health, and they know that, as our community numbers increase, we run the risk of potentially reversing in the reopening phase, and then which could lead to, a a shutdown of some sort or more restrictions. So they're definitely ahead of the game. And then plus John's doing, stop-ins at all the local establishments too. So.
Thank you, Tony. And John, again, I want to thank you too. I mean, you must have been serving as our public health officer now for close to 20 years.
21.
21 years.
20.
Over those years, you've developed the institutional knowledge of this town. You've developed relationships with the business owners and their managers. They trust you. They believe in you. They listen to you. So we're lucky to have you, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now we get some other, we go from COVID to, Tony, we all set in the COVID issues now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, I would just finish it off with, reminding people that it is a extremely difficult thing to track and a very difficult thing to, many people are asymptomatic. There are folks that aren't. So, you just got to be taking the right steps to protect yourself, regardless of whether you get a call about a close contact or whether you were, at a party or, in your house. You never know. So just, especially now with the numbers coming up and people being indoors more often and holiday season, protect yourself as much as you can. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and get tested.
Great. Thanks, Tony. Okay, we're going to go to opening comments, and I do have some bittersweet news here I have to share with everyone. We recently, and I see that she's joined us on Zoom tonight, we recently got a letter from our esteemed town accountant, Deb Waters, who's decided to retire after 26 years on the job. And I say bittersweet because the town will be struggling to try to fill your shoes. And in fact, we never will fill your shoes, Deb. For all the time I served as town administrator, any success I had as town administrator was directly attributed to you. And you remind me of, I was sort of like the Wizard of Oz. Who's that guy behind the curtain? But you are really the Wizard of Oz in the heart, because everything that happens is behind the curtains in your back office. The reason we get through every year in our budgets and free cash and all of that stuff is because of you and your hard work, the hours that you've put in over the years. We will miss you. You not only are you one of my best friends, you're one of the best, if not the best town accountant we've ever had, and one of the best public servants we ever had. So Deb, thank you very much. And I'll miss you, but I won't, I'll be seeing a lot of you. I think you're muted, Deb.
I was. Thank you so much. Wow, what an honor for you to say that, all of that, Mark. Thank you. I really enjoyed working with you and so many others. And I wish Tony the best with all he has in front of him. And time for the younger people to come in and do it, I guess. But it was fun. It's been fun. And I enjoyed everybody. And I appreciate all of you. And I know I will miss everybody too. But I'll get involved somehow, some way, down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to also, thank you, Deb, publicly. I know I've said it to you a million times, but I would not nearly have as much success either. Same as Mark said, if it wasn't for you. I've learned everything from you, and it's gonna be really hard without having you there. And you've served every town administrator, and you know the details, the backstories, the who knows what. You have you go far beyond just the accountant. even if it's just a difficult day and you need a minute to just like, talk something out, you're there for me. So really, really appreciate everything you've done, and you deserve retirement more than anyone in the building. So I really thank you a lot for everything you've done.
Just
Thank
quickly
you
add-
so much. It's too much. You guys are great. Thank you for all you've done, all of you. Keep it going. You have a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Josh.
I'll be giving you a call. We'll get together, Deb.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thanks, Deb.
Thanks, Deb. So Deb will be, Deb's going to be with us for a couple more months now, or a month or so, month and a half or so. But we're going to try to, extract as much knowledge from her before she goes as possible. And we'll be posting the position soon. So hopefully we get somebody with some background in municipal accounting that can spend some time with Deb and learn the, every municipality is a little bit different. So it's always good to have some overlap, especially in that position. So we'll be posting that probably tomorrow.
Great, Tony. Thanks. I know you'll struggle. You lose Bobby Joe, now you lose Deb. You got COVID. When it rains, it pours, right? But you'll get through it. Like I told you the other day, it can only get better.
Yeah,
Probably.
people have been saying that every day since I started. No, it's an awesome place to work. I know Deb's not going to leave us high and dry. She'll help us out. She loves the town very, very much and wants to see me succeed and our team succeed. So we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
I think Deb Murphy has something to say. She keeps raising the finger. No, you're all set? Okay. All right.
You're
All right,
muted,
Deb.
Deb.
Hold on, Deb.
No,
Try
I'm
to
sorry.
unmute now.
Um,
There you go.
all of those accolades are so well deserved for Deb, because she's even helped me so much with, oh, there she is, she's back again, with all my, all the flu vaccine work, all the paperwork, the invoices. You can always run into that office and she never says, I'm too busy for you. And, when you're working with people like that, it's just wonderful to have people like that to work with. But the other part of Deb is, not only is she great at her work, she's a wonderful person. And she's so empathetic and compassionate, and she does so much for people that a lot of people don't even know about. So I just think, I just hope, Deb, you have the best retirement. I tried it once. It didn't work. Just be careful if you answer the phone.
Yeah, she's going to block my number.
Oh, she's still muted.
Oh, Deb, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Deb. That was very, very nice. I feel the same way right back at you and all you've been doing with all this COVID, and it's a lot. And I know you tried to retire, so you will. We'll get you there. We'll be going to the beach together soon. Till you're going down the street. Thank you all very, very much. I feel sad in a way because I won't be seeing everybody as much, but it's a good feeling. And I will help, Tony. You can call me. Thank you, guys.
You all heard it.
Yeah. Thanks, Deb.
Get that in the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some other opening comments here. Winter parking ban goes into effect December 21st through March 20th between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Tony, we still have the request for on-street parking that goes through the police department.
Yes, if you don't have off-street parking, you can get a winter permit. The application for that is on the police department's website. So you can call, but you can actually apply right online.
Oh, great. That's great. I know that some parts of town really need that, and it works out pretty well. And the chief does a good job with that. Okay, the Nahant Lions Club turkey shoot this Saturday, November 21st at the DPW is will be held between 10 a.m.
It's actually canceled.
Oh, it's canceled. Okay.
It would not be, will not be held.
Will not be held.
Oh, it doesn't say that on the agenda.
No,
Maybe.
I think it was late breaking news.
I think it was within the last 24 or so hours.
They probably figured out I was coming and they. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Last leaf pickup on Monday, November 23rd. This is leave your leaves in a bag out in front of your house, and DPW will pick that up and bring it down to the compost area. You can bring them down to the compost area yourselves on Wednesdays and Saturdays, all day. Okay, then let's see, Community Preservation Committee funding update. Tony, we got some great news on this from the state. So why don't you walk us through this?
Okay. So the statewide, the CPC, Community Preservation Act, mostly due to legislative changes that provided additional funding sources for the CPA, has experienced increases in that fund, which then trickles down to the municipalities, and they see a higher match from the state. So in fiscal year 18, the town of Nahant saw a match of $80,000. In fiscal year 19, we saw a match of $104,000, and the estimated amount in FY20 we saw $136,000, and the estimated amount for this upcoming year, FY21, is $175,000 match. So we were nervous there with COVID and revenues being impacted by the pandemic, but this is great news. With last year's town meeting, or this most recent town meeting in September, we didn't take up the CPC grant, and so 10% of those proceeds go into 3 separate categories: housing, open space, and recreation and historical preservation. And then the balance of that stays in the revenues, stays in a reserve fund. So that will just essentially, that's going to roll forward into next year, where we'll have a 2 years worth of funding to allocate. So a lot of work for CPC, for the committee, but all good news.
So that's about a 70% return.
Yeah, 69.5% match. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know that communities that have chosen the 3% surcharge, as Nahant did, receives a lot more than communities that didn't do that. So that's good.
There's been, I think there's been some confusion, or seen some threads on Facebook and so on, particularly earlier this year, confusion about CPA funds and CPC, and so I want to take just a minute to spread some information, if I could. I wrote some notes for myself, so excuse me for looking like I'm reading, because I'm reading. So CPA funds can be used for open space, recreation, historic preservation, and public housing. The Community Preservation Act, which was signed into law in the year 2000, was formed to help fund these 4 categories. Any organization in town or any person in town can apply for CPA projects that meet these criteria. Nahant's CPC, Community Preservation Committee, will evaluate these applications and makes recommendations to the voters of Nahant. So puts their recommended projects on the town warrant. At annual town meeting, each application is voted on separately, so it's not a bundled thing. Everyone is voted on separately. So importantly, it's the voters that decide what projects get funded. I consider these funding these things, open space, recreation, historic preservation, as quality of life issues, and money spent on these things is an investment in the future of our community. I believe there's value to open space and recreation, historic preservation, public housing. So in essence, the CPA says if a community sees the value in open spaces and all those categories and votes to participate in the CPA, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts will defray the cost of doing so. Nahant voted to join CPA in 2004, and it's funded with a 3% surcharge on our real estate tax bill over the first $100,000. The state match varies from year to year, but I think over the past 15 years that we've been involved, I think it's averaged over 50%. I have to check my numbers, and this year 69.5% is really fantastic. Some past projects included restoration of the library, town hall, police station, the wharf, the ramp at the wharf. Applications for FY 2021 include fixing the leaking windows in the low-income housing, the Nahant Historical Society, archival, conservation and preservation, new kitchen in the Council on Aging, Bailey's Hill and Fort Ruckman East Slope restoration, Nahant Little League Playground, Little Nahant Playground repairs, Lowlands men's softball fields, Spring Road basketball courts, and access to town hall for people with a disability. So many important projects that enhance the quality and sense of community in our town. So I believe that CPA has been and continues to be a huge boon for Nahant. So, and if you have questions about how it all works, contact someone on the CPC and ask questions, or reach out to Tony at Town Hall. But if you're sincerely interested in knowing the answers, those are the places to go. So just wanted to share that information.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for that summary. I couldn't agree with you more. All of those projects that you mentioned, without the community preservation funds, one of two things would have happened. Either we wouldn't have done those projects, or we would have funded those projects through our general fund. With the Community Preservation Act, we now have the state this year funding projects like that at 70%. So the town is only paying 30%. It's been a great advantage for this town over the past 16 or so years, and I'm glad we adopted it back in 2004, and I look forward to supporting it as we move forward.
Yeah, just adding to what you just said. So the CPA money is separate from the general budget, and that's intentional. And the intent is to protect these quality of life items from the annual vagrancies of our general budget items. So we're not tempted to skip the library repairs because of issues in our general fund. So I think it's a wise choice to keep these separate, because it allows things to happen that as you said, either would have cost 50% more or don't get done. So
Hey, Josh, thanks for taking the time to go through that, because most people out there don't realize or understand what that 3% is doing for them.
Yeah, it's doing 4.5% is what it's doing for them. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes people get tempted to, I can cut my real estate tax by 3.5%, but you probably really wind up raising it by 4.5%. Anyway, that's all I have.
Appreciate that. Okay, we'll go on to new business. We have some minutes to approve for November 5th.
Yeah. that we approve the minutes from November 5th, 2020.
Motion's been made.
Seconded.
Motion's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Nope.
Seeing, hearing none. All in favor?
Josh Antrim, aye.
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Okay, some surplus equipment that I can buy again here. Let's see. We need to declare Nahant Police Department 2004 Chevy Tahoe SUV as surplus equipment.
Is that a motion? Or am I to read the motion?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the
Declare
motion.
the Nahant Police Department's I'm sorry, 2007 Chevy Tahoe SUV as surplus equipment.
Motion's been
Second.
made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. All those in favor?
Josh Antrim, aye.
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Let's see. 1 second. Get my. Here. Okay, this is from the American Legion Post 215 for the patriotic observance of Veterans Day on July 15th through the 18th, 2021. We have the event request to approve here. I have a motion on that. Maybe we have a discussion.
I'll make the motion to approve the event request from the American Legion Post 215 for the patriotic observance for Veterans Day for veterans on July 15th through the 18th, 2021.
Motion
Seconded.
and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Tony, you want to talk about this? Oh, is Toby with us?
I don't see Toby on the
Okay,
on
maybe
my
you can
list
still.
here, folks, but this is an event that came to the Board of Selectmen last year and unfortunately was postponed because of COVID, and we hope to do it this summer, but you know, and we'll have to, obviously that'll be dependent on COVID once again. So, you know, as we get closer, you know, through the spring, we'll be able to provide more details and a little bit more information about, you know, if we're going to be able to pursue this event. But
Okay, well, let's hope.
I know it's something that the Legion's been working on really hard.
Hopefully we can get it done this year. The only thing I want to add, and a little unrelated to this, is I was able to attend the Veterans Day services last week, and I just want to say what a great job that the American Legion did with their commander, Bob Fields, and everybody involved. It was really moving, and we had a great day for it. The weather was beautiful. We had great attendance, and it was just a special day. So thanks to Commander Fields and all the members of Post 215 for their participation. It was a great day.
I'll agree with Mark. I attended as well, and they did, Mark. They did a great job with that. Really well planned.
Great. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Gene Canty, aye.
Josh Antrim, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Okay, we have an appointment to the Open Space and Recreation Committee. This is a vacancy that was created a few months ago. And so this appointment that's typically done by the town moderator, but when there's a vacancy to be filled, it's a combination between the town moderator and the board.
Actually, this one, Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, this is a joint appointment.
Yeah,
This isn't like the previous elections we've done for planning board or assessor, board of assessors. This is actually a committee appointment. This is a joint appointment.
between the moderator and the board.
between the moderator and the Board of Selectmen. So this seat was previously filled by Dana Sheehan, and he joined the Advisory and Finance Committee, so he can no longer hold this position. The Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee was, how do I say, it was reconstituted back in 2014, the town meeting of 2014, where it says Article 29 was continue committees, and in there it said, and to reconstitute the Open Space Management and Land Acquisition Committee as the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee, with 5 members jointly appointed to 1-year terms by the moderator and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
So I can just give you some background before you get into the motion. We posted this on the town website and Facebook and announced it at our last Board of Selectmen meeting. That we were looking for interested participants, volunteers. We received 4 interested candidates, Rebecca Durgan, Michael Collar, Phil Russell, and Terry Motley. All 4 candidates would be excellent at the position and would be, I'm sure, welcomed by the other committee members. The chairwoman of the committee has recommended Rebecca Durgan, and likewise, the town moderator has also sent over an email recommending Rebecca Durgan to fill the seat of Dana Sheehan as well.
Yeah, this is, I think this is the 4th appointment, 3rd or 4th appointment we've had this fall, where we've had more volunteers than positions, and it's, we're really fortunate that people are willing to step up and do that. But as I mentioned to Tony earlier today, it's tough to be forced to choose only one. So really appreciate all 4 volunteers, that's for sure.
I would
And,
agree.
Many of them are, many of them are repeat volunteers. They've committed, a lot of time onto other committees as well. So they're all great candidates.
As we approach the coming year, Tony, with vacancies, like you said, some of these are repeat volunteers. They're very well qualified. I hope that you reach out to them. I hope we can find a good position for them that they're willing to take. We have a lot of vacancies to fill over the next couple of years, over the next year or so. So I'm sure we can find some work for them somewhere if they're willing to do it. Okay, I have a motion.
Okay, based in part on the recommendations from the chair of the open space and the town moderator, I move to appoint Rebecca Pillsbury to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee.
I'll
I'm
second
going to
that.
amend that. I'm going to amend that. I think her married name is Durgan.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Pillsbury?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry. I'll repeat that. I move to appoint Rebecca Durgan to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee.
Motion's been made. I have a second.
Second,
Motion's been seconded. All those in favor?
Josh Antrim, aye.
Dean Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen and I. Again, thank you everybody for willing to serve. All right, ongoing business. We have preserving East Point on our agenda each year. I have 2 points I want to bring up, Tony. One is we heard from our consultant who is doing the financial impact analysis. They're finishing up their report, and hopefully within a week or so we'll have that available for the public to review. I haven't seen it yet, but as soon as it's finished, I'd like to try to get it out and have people review it. And secondly, I think that Josh, you brought up last meeting that it would be good if we had our eminent domain attorney join us in a town-wide Zoom meeting to explain the process of eminent domain in the event that the town chooses or the board chooses to go ahead with recommending that to the town. I think it would be a good opportunity for the townspeople who don't know what this process is or what it means or how it may affect the town to get their questions answered by probably one of the most renowned eminent domain attorneys, not only in the Commonwealth, but maybe in the country, to answer their questions. So, Tony, I would like to try to schedule that as soon as we can, probably after the first year. I know we have the holidays coming up, but after the first of the year, perhaps we could schedule that. Josh or Gene, I don't know if you have anything else to say on this.
Just that when we plan to have this presentation and question and answer session, we'll have to advertise it, as widely as possible. It'll really be a good opportunity for people to hear the answers right from the horse's mouth. So try to get as many people there on the line. I guess it'll be a Zoom call probably. Try to get as many people on the call as possible and watching at home. Just want to get as much information out to the people so they understand the process and how it all works. So
That will be extremely well accepted.
Okay. Town administrators report.
I don't have anything on the agenda because, when we were putting this agenda together, we were, dealing with the COVID situation in the town hall and around the town. I will say that, today I got a quick update regarding the work that's happening on Nahant Road with National Grid. It does look like they're making, the Nahant Road job seems to be moving right along. I know it's most inconvenient, given where it's located, but they seem to be moving right along, and hopefully they'll be finished with their main replacement in the next week or so, and then after that they will be getting to the service lines to the buildings off of Nahant Road. I know that we have gas work under another contractor up at Howe Road. That one's taken a lot longer. And, we're certainly keeping the pressure on National Grid to get that done as soon as possible. The folks on Howe Road have been living with construction now between our water main job, which ultimately probably led to National Grid wanting to come in and replace the gas main there too, because once you start shifting the earth around underneath the ground there, it can cause problems to these older pipes. So when they knew we were in there, they wanted to get in there too and change out the gas line. But there's a lot of ledge up there, and anyways, it's not moving as fast as we want, but we're certainly keeping the pressure on them, and hopefully that job gets done soon as well.
Just a quick question on that. Where's that start? Where's it going to end?
Which one?
The main.
Nahant Road, it goes from Pond Street to Spring Road. So from, Captain's.
Yeah.
All the way up to, Pond Street, right before the school, right before the church.
And will each street off of that have a tie-in?
No, but any house that ties into that main, their service line, they'll get a new service line.
Okay.
when they put the house service lines in, is that a second digging up of the street, or is that already, how does that work?
That that's a second digging up of the street, but it won't cause as much of a traffic shutdown as the main. There'll be more, you could still drive, we'll probably have details there where people can drive down Nahant Road, one lane, at a time, instead of shutting the entire road down.
Tony, I got a question on that. So this is a high pressure gas main they're putting in. And then the services to the households will be high pressure, right? So does that mean that they have to take the meters from, if you have a meter inside your house to outside your house?
No, I don't know.
Okay, I think it might, unless they've already done it, but with the new high pressure, I don't think you can have the meter inside your house anymore. And I'm just letting the residents know that you have to be very careful about where they put the meter on the outside of your house. Because they're gonna put it in the most convenient place unless you instruct them otherwise. So make sure if the gas company is proposing to take the meter from inside of your house and put it outside your house, that you have some say on where that goes.
I know from my past professional life, National Grid was pushing for, upgrades to smart meters. But I don't know if that was just on the electrical side or also on the gas side. So, they may upgrade the meters anyways, since they're upgrading the service line. I don't know if it means coming in outside, from inside to outside, but I can check on that.
Yeah, check on it. I mean, I just mentioning it through experience. I came home one day and found I had a new meter right in front of my picture window of my house, and I had to call them back and say it's not going there. Okay, great.
I just
the only
also,
other thing, Tony, under your report, I forgot to mention it, but I met with you and Zach Taylor the other day down at Lowlands to discuss some of the plans that you two are putting together for the flooding at Flash Road and Lower Castle Road. And I was encouraged with what I saw and the work that you guys have been doing on that. And I know that we've told the people down at Flash Road and, on Fox Hill Road and Lower Castle that we would engage them. So I think we need to do that at some point to let them know what we're thinking, what our engineers are thinking, perhaps get some of their input in it. But like a lot of them said, this is not just a local problem, it's a town-wide problem, and we probably should discuss it at one of our open meetings also.
definitely. I wanted to make sure that what we were thinking about was feasible, which it certainly seems like it is. And we got to put some final touches on it, but essentially for those on the call, what we're looking to do here is create a emergency access to flood removal when we do have floodlight situations, that will keep our equipment elevated and out of the vulnerable area of the flood, but also access a low point in that area and allow us to discharge that flood water back into the ocean without having to shut down Nahant Road or Castle Road. We have the portable pumps in place now, but unfortunately, we don't really have an ideal spot in the lowlands area of Fox Hill, Ward Road, and Castle, as far as accessing a low spot to pump from and then discharging without having to shut down a road. We're definitely making progress on that. And yeah, I think that we should probably have a maybe like a neighborhood meeting or invite the neighborhood group to join a Board of Selectmen meeting in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really personally very excited about that option to finally help out that neighborhood.
I also wanted to mention that our, that real estate and personal property bills were mailed out this week. And so they are, if you haven't received them, you'll be receiving them soon. And they are due Friday, December 18th.
Great.
I just got a text from going back to the gas question, from Jim Devereaux, works for the gas company. He said that the meters can still be inside, although National Grid wants them to be on the outside. Hopefully I got that right. But they can still be inside.
Local knowledge is very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, anything else, Tony?
That's all. Thank you.
Citizens forum?
Hey, just before you do that, one thing, I received a phone call today from Medi. Everybody in town knows Medi. And he said that he's apparently offering up 2,500 turkeys to those that are in need, along with a plentiful quantity of pies. And so he said, if you would make that announcement, if people know somebody that needs a turkey or in need of a turkey or a pie, to let him know. I think the only way to get in touch with him would be on Facebook. But that's a tremendous giving.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Thank
maybe
you, Medi.
maybe we could, I don't know how we coordinate that somehow, Tony, but maybe Linda Peterson could help with it.
Yeah.
But not just the elderly, but there's others that.
If I know Medi well enough, I think I do. He's probably already reached out to her.
Okay.
So, but she, let me think. I can try to. I'll ask her. I know that they talk once in a while, so I'll ask her.
That 2,500 isn't just Nahant, but he said, yeah.
That's one.
In that case, I would have said, I'll take one.
Okay, thanks, Gene. Thanks for putting it in. Okay, citizens forum. We have anything in the chat room, Tony? Anybody want to say anything?
Let me allow participants to unmute themselves.
There's a couple that are didn't get read when Debbie was announcing her retirement. Maybe you want to start with
Yes.
those.
Yep. Okay. So Kathy Famulari, I would wrote in the chat, I would like to add my congratulations to Deb, and I could never have served as treasurer without her help. She taught me so much. Michelle Capano wrote, best wishes, Debbie Waters, on your retirements. You will be missed.
Great.
Ken Carangelo.
Hello.
You are unmuted.
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I put these questions in the chat also, but one, so Ken Carangelo, 81 Willow Road. Following up Mark's mentioning the consultant doing the financial analysis for the eminent domain proposal, where is the funding coming from for that?
Tony?
Where is the funding coming from for the consultant that Mark mentioned in the financial analysis for East Point? So that's the, it's coming through it's one or two things. It's either coming out of professional services, out of the Board of Selectmen's budget, or it's coming out of the donation fund from the Nahant Preservation Trust. I'd have to double check.
Tony, let me suggest a third alternative. Seeing that the request was by the Finance Committee, it could come out of the reserve fund also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the funding hasn't yet actually been established? Is that a fair statement?
I think that's what you're hearing. Ken.
It's one of the three. I'm not 100% certain. I'd have to check with accounting I don't even know if we've gotten a bill yet. So
Was there, do
I'll
you
have
have
to
any,
check with accounting on it.
do you have any sense as to what the estimate was or what the bill might be for this?
No.
I think it was, I do think, Tony, the proposal, the RFP was, I think it was 12,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Well, we and you eagerly await the report.
Okay.
Just wanted to follow up from the last Selectmen's meeting on November 5th, and then I followed up via email as Tony requested. I'd asked for an accounting of the gifts from the Nahant Preservation Trust since the time frame when the gift letter was amended to allow for gifts that were not individually disclosed. I know you're busy, Tony, but it's been a couple of weeks, haven't seen anything on that. Was just wondering if there is any time frame when we could expect that.
Did you send that in through the clerk, like through a FOIA request, or was that just from that meeting?
It was an email to you, I believe. Diane and Mark was on it as well.
Yeah, Tony, I don't think we need a FOIA request on that. It's simply have the town accountant give Ken a management review of that account. That's fine.
No,
with
I
me.
wasn't pushing it through that avenue. I was just thinking where to check first.
It's Gmail. It's literally, it was right after the last meeting ended. I sent the email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And just in that same vein, the Conservation Commission yesterday met and again continued the matters that they had in front of them for Northeastern regarding East Point. Kristen mentioned a change in the regulation or the guidance from the state regarding COVID, and that there was now a 21-day limit after, I think, December 1st, when things had to be acted on. Does the Board of Selectmen have any position on the Concom's continuation and sort of continuing continuations? They had expressed not having any kind of public meeting for that. And just your thoughts on how the recent COVID guidance may change how that works.
Yeah, I'll let Tony fill in the details here, but we are aware of those changes from the state. We've asked town council to take a look at that and to advise us. He hasn't got back to us yet, but Tony, you might want to fill some of the gap here.
Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020 were signed by the legislature, essentially allowed for municipalities to toll permitting processes that would require or tend to draw a large amount of people, and thus with the pandemic and the limits on how many people you could have in a meeting, when this went into place, it was early on, before I think municipalities really got into the Zooms and the Teams and the Google Teams and things like that. So it basically, what it had said was anything that would otherwise draw a large crowd, you don't have to act upon until 45 days after the public emergency is lifted. Now, last week or so, the legislature passed a supplemental budget, and as an outside section, they amended that Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020, which basically said you can't, that they eliminated the 45 days after the emergency is lifted and said December 1st. So anything that came in after March 1st and hasn't gone through, any day of your typical regulated process or timing, you have to pick that up December 1st. And I believe what Kristen probably was saying was the Concom, by rule, typical, they have 21 days to acknowledge or open an NOI. So because it came in, because the original because both of Northeastern's NOIs came in after March 1st, they haven't even done 1 day of it yet. So it's been continued. So as of December 1st, they'll have to, I believe, act on that. And they have 21 days from December 1st to schedule a meeting to officially initiate the opening or acknowledgement of the NOI. I think the next step on the process is for them to hire a consultant to review the NOI. And then there's a time frame. There's kind of no regulated time frame by which between when they open it to when they have to close and make a determination on it. But once that review process is over, there is a time frame from that date to when they have to formally make a determination. So long story short, the Concom is going to have to, and our permitting, all permitting bodies can no longer toll these applications until 45 days after the emergency is lifted. And, by speaking with town council, KP Law, who's, involved with a lot of things at the state legislature, it seemed like there's a lot of the pressure for that change came from housing development projects, controversial 40Bs and things like that. So I think the legislature kind of was saying, all right, it's been a few months now. You should have, figured out how to do your process online at this point. So, get going on it. So I think that's where we are. So we're just asking KP Law to formalize, take a look at our regs, take a look at the rules and the time frame, and let Concom know when they need to act next.
Is there any reason the town can't support a public Zoom meeting that might have a couple of hundred people?
No, I don't. I think unless, our account isn't set up for that, I think we could do it.
Okay.
Obviously, we have, I think that, with our community, a lot of elderly, and, I've definitely experienced the comment from many people in town about how hard it is to participate through Zoom. That's, one of the reasons why we're live on the local TV channel tonight and going forward. So, the idea is, especially something like Northeastern, no matter what side you're on, I think it's a big issue that affects a lot of people. So you want to make sure, it's the same reason why our town meeting, was minimized to the most essential articles, because an issue like that, is so important to so many people in town. You want to get as many people involved as possible.
Okay, except the reason that wasn't done virtually for town meeting was because state law doesn't allow for an open town meeting to be held virtually, right? But there's no reason a public meeting that's not the town meeting can't legally be held virtually.
Correct. Obviously, you still want to get as many people involved as possible.
Understood. And I would just say, in many ways, Zoom actually makes it easier to access public meetings. If you look at the attendance of things like the Concom or even this meeting, since it's been on Zoom, you've had a lot more people on it and participating than you normally would, having, sitting in front of you at town hall. So just something to consider. It's actually a positive in some ways.
Yeah, definitely. Now we got the best of both worlds.
Okay. And just on the gift letter thing, I'll resend the email that I sent 2 weeks ago, just so it's at the top of your inbox. But
I just found it. I just,
okay.
Well, I searched for it and moved it to the top. So
okay.
As soon as I sign off here, I'll send it over to accounting and get that put together for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else, Tony?
No, nothing else on the chat. If there's anybody else in the meeting that wants to unmute themselves and participate, they're welcome to do so.
Okay, if we don't have anybody else, let me just say before we adjourn, Thanksgiving is coming up next week. I hope everybody can do the best they can under the circumstances. Be safe. Try to follow the guidelines. I know it's going to be difficult. It's one of those holidays where you really want to be together with your family and friends, but it might be difficult this year. And so just be safe and enjoy it the best you can. All right, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment.
Motion's been made,
Seconded,
seconded. All those in favor?
Josh Antrim,
Gene Canty, aye.
Mark Cullen, aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.